After the recent and unexpected death of the King of Elsinore.
No word yet from the late king's son, Prince Hamlet.
In an unprecedented time frame, less than a
Advisors
week.
to the new King Claudius have voiced concerns over the deteriorating situation of civil unrest.
Police has identified the leader of the rioters as Fortinbras.
Our new king is expected to address the country momentarily.
Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that in us befitted to bear our hearts in grief and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have really gone with this affair along. For all our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our estates to be disjoint or out of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law to our most valiant brother. So much for him.
That it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? And yet, within a month, a little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, old tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Who's there? Speak. I'll go no further.
Mark me.
My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or a goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blast from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. Let me not burst into ignorance, but tell me why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the sepulchre in which we saw thee quietly interred have opt his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again.
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the days confined to fast and fires, until the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. Thou ever didst thy dear father love.
Oh God.
This revenge is most foul and unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul as in the best there is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge. Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle, Oh, you host of heaven! Oh, earth! What else?
And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is't, Laertes? The head is now more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
I dread, Lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation. Yet now I must confess that duty's done. My thoughts and wishes bend again towards France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
I have, my lord, wrung from him my slow leave by laborsome petition, and at last, upon his will, received his leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, Ophelia. I am too much in the sun.
Hamlet, cast thy nighted color off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Thou knowest it's come. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, it is common.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know your father lost a father. That father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condonement is a course of impious stubbornness.
My father. Methinks I see my father.
Your father? Where?
In my mind's eye, Ophelia. How now? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy?
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
I pray thee stay with us, go not to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you.
Sister! Hamlet!
I am glad to see you well, Laertes. But what in faith make you from France?
I came to see your father's funeral.
I prithee, do not mock me. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Laertes. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. But I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day. But I must hold my tongue. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Our necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convey his assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature. Forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting. Perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so.
Perhaps he loves you now, and now nor soil nor coddle doth besmirch the virtue of his will. But you must fear his greatness, Wade. His will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for themselves, for on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state, and therefore must his choice be circumscribed onto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal. Fear it, Ophelia. Fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affections, out of the shots and dangers of desire. Be weary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But good my brother, do not, as an ungracious pastor do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whilst like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. Stay too long, but here my father comes. Double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Get here, Laertes. Aboard, aboard, for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. Look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, in their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged courage. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear that the opposing may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. This above all, to thine own self be true. And it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave.
The time invest you. Go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
It is in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you of your audience have been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and in that way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection! Puh! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know what I should think.
Marry, I will teach you. Think yourself a baby that you have taken these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or, not to crack the wind of the poor phrase running it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
He has importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
From this time, be something scant of your maiden presence. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
What are you doing here?
Ophelia, what's the matter?
Oh, I've been so affrighted.
With what in the name of God?
As I was sewing in my closet, Hamlet, with his doublet all embraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous and purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus over his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down. He raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go. And with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out the doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended the light on me.
Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passions under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. Have you given him any hard words as of late?
No, but as you did commend, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not coded him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. But beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves and our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it, since nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be, more than his father's death, that doth put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. Good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am, to men there is not living to whom he more adheres. I entreat you both, the being of so young days brought up with him, and since so neighbor to his youth and behavior, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasure and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus, that opened lies within our remedy.
Your Majesty might by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and here give up ourselves in the full bent, to lay our service freely at your feet to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern. Thou still hast been the father of good news.
Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king.
Oh, they tell me you have found the head and source of my son's distemper.
Your Majesty, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad, call I it, for to define true madness, what is it to be but nothing else but mad?
More matter with less art.
My lord, I swear I use no art at all. That he's mad, 'tis true, 'tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true. A foolish figure. But farewell it, for I will use no art. Perpend, I have a daughter, who in her duty and obedience mark hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. To the celestial in my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear. In her excellent white bosom, these, etc.
Came this from Hamlet to her?
This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means, and place, all given to mine ear.
But how has she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As a man, faithful and honorable.
I would fain prove so. But what might you think when I looked upon this hot love on the wing? As I perceived it, I must tell you that before my daughter told me. What might you think if I had played the desk or table book, or looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young daughter thus I did bespeak, Lord Hamlet is a prince, out of thy star, this must not be. And then I prescripts gave her that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no token, which done, she took the fruits of my advice. And he repelled, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, thence to a fast, thence to a weakness, thence to a watch, thence to a lightness, and by this declension into the madness where now he raves and all we mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
Take this from this if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby. At such a time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then, mark the encounter. If he love her not, and be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for escape, but keep a farm and carters.
We will try it.
Who's there?
My good lord!
My most dear lord!
My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, what have you done that you are to prison hither?
Prison?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one?
A goodly one in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so.
Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me it is a prison.
Why then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Shall we to the court? For by my fay I cannot reason. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, no other occasion.
Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, come, deal justly with me. Come, come, nay, speak.
What should we say?
Anything but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end?
That you must teach me, but let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship. Be even and direct with me whether you were sent for or no. If you love me, hold not off.
Hamlet, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen mote no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with a golden fire, appears no other thing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors.
My lord.
My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Oh, that this too sully's flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it! Ah, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and that devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and melancholy, as he is potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Would the night were come. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There is the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time? The oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with the bare bodkin. Who would Fardos bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard, their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action.
And can you by no drift of conference get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
Just confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof whenever we will bring him onto some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well?
Most like a gentleman.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Leave us.
I shall, my lord.
I have closely sent for Hamlet hither. Your father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that seeing the unseen, we will of your encounter frankly judge and gather by him, as he is behaved, if it be the affliction of his love or no, that thus he suffers for.
I have remembrances of yours that I have longed long to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
You know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich, their perfume lost, take these again, for to the noble mind, rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind.
Ha! Ha! Are you honest?
What?
Are you fair?
What do you mean?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, Hamlet, you make me believe so.
You should not have believed me. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, yet I could accuse me of such things, that it were better my mother had never borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my back than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What just such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heavens? We are arrant knaves, all, believe none of us. Go to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plate for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Or, if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly too. Farewell.
Heavenly powers, restore him.
I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and amble, you lisp, you nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to! I'll no more on it. It hath made me mad. I say, we will have no more marriage. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery, go.
And I that suck the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and stature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen. See what I see.
Love? His affections do not that way tend, and what he spake was like madness. There is something in his soul for which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hash, and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent I have in quick determination thus set it down. Madness in great ones must not go unwatched. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourselves, to us, to everyone. It will be seen to us whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of pawn to this mad young man. I, like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I will dispatch men, and he shall be detained. The terms of my estate may not endure hazard so near us as doth hourly grow out of his brows. What's news?
Save yourself, my lord. The ocean overpeering of his list eats not the words. Eats not the. Save yourself, my lord. The ocean overpeering of his list eats not with most impetuous haste, and young Fortinbras in a riotous head overbears your officers. The rabble call him lord, and as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, customs not known, the ratifiers of every prop, they cry, choose we, Fortinbras shall be king. Caps, hands, tongues applauded to the clouds. Fortinbras shall be king. Fortinbras king.
Ah, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First, my brother dead, next Hamlet gone, and he the most violent author of his own just removal. The people muddied, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers, divided from themselves in their fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts. What is the cause that this rebellion looks so giant-like? Go! Take up arms!
Vouchsafe me a word with you.
Yes, the whole history.
The king
Aye, what of him?
is marvelous distempered.
With drink?
No, with choler.
Your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor. For me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into more choler.
Put your discourse into some frame, and start not so wildly from my affair.
I am tame, sir. Pronounce.
The queen, your mother, in most great affliction of spirit, hath sent me to you.
You are welcome.
Nay, this courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to give me a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business.
I cannot
Cannot what?
make you a wholesome answer, but such answer as I can make, you shall command, or rather, as you say, my mother. Therefore, no more but to the matter, my mother, you say.
And thus she says your behavior has struck her with great admiration and amazement.
Oh, wonderful son that could so astonish a mother. But is there no sequel at the heels of this admiration? In part.
She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed.
We shall obey were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
You once did love me.
And do still by these pickers and stealers.
You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty to deny your griefs to your friend.
I lack advancement.
How can that be when you have the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark?
Aye, but while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty. Will you play upon this pipe?
I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, I cannot.
I do beseech you.
I know no touch of it, my lord.
It is as easy as lying.
I have
Come,
not
Vance.
skills.
Why, look you now. How unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass. And there is much music, excellent voice, in this little organ, yet you cannot make it speak. Do you think I am easier to be played on than a pipe?
The queen would speak with you, and presently.
And I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by. Leave me, friends. Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on? So, he's a praying. And now I'll do it. So he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged.
Oh, my offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it. A brother's murder. Pray can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will. My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin and both neglect. My fault is past. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder? That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder. My crown, my known ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offense's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft is seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. Help, angels, make a say. All may be well.
That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and I, his sole son, do this same villain sent to heaven. Now, this is not revenge. He took my father grossly, with all his crimes broad blown, and blush as may, and how his audit stands, who knows, save heaven? And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. So, now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. How in my words somever she be shent, give them seals never, my soul consent. He will come straight to you. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him that his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace has screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you, be round with him.
I warrant you, fear me not.
Mother? Mother?
Withdraw, I
Mother.
hear him coming.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife. And would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, come, and sit you down. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What would thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Help!
How now? A rat? Dead, poor dog. Dead.
Oh, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this?
A bloody deed. Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, it was my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou findest to be too busy in some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff. If damned custom have not praised it so, that it be proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest whack that tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths.
What act that roars so loud and thunders in index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow, a combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Ha! Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday in the blood is tamed. It's humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Oh, shame! Where is thy blush?
Oh, speak to me no more.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Speak no more. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tide of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cut purse of the empire and the rule that from the shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No
a king
more.
of shreds and patches. Save me and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide? That lapsed in time and passion lets go by the important acting of your dread command.
Do not forget this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on your mother's lips. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
How is it with you? That you defend your eye on vacancy and with the incorporeal air for discourse? Whereon do you look?
On him. On him! Look you how pale he glares. Do not look upon me.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all, yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
Nothing but ourselves.
Look there. Look how it steals away. My father in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes, even now, out the portal.
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in.
Ecstasy. My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will be word which madness would gamble from. Mother, for the love of grace, lay not that flattering unction unto your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whiles rank corruption mining all within infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread compost on the weeds to make them ranker. Forgive me this, my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue of vice itself must pardon beg. Yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it and live pure with the other half. Good night, but go not to my uncle's bed, refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For this same Lord, I do repent, but heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with the death I gave him.
I will not speak with her. Yet she is importunate. She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks in the world, and hems and beats her heart, spurns enviously at straw, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshapen use of it does move the hearers to collection. They aim at it and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, 'twere good that she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. Let her come in.
Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark?
How now, Ophelia?
How should I, your true love, know from another one by his cockle hat and staff and his sandal shoe?
Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song?
Say you? Nay, pray you, mark. He is dead and gone, lady, he's dead and gone. At his head a grass green turf, at his heels a stone.
Nay, but Ophelia.
Pray you, mark. White as shroud is the mountain snow, larded all with sweet flowers, which bewept to the ground. Did not go with true love showers.
How do you, pretty lady?
Well, God do you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. let's have no words of this. But when they ask you what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. And up he rose, and on his clothes, and stooped the chamber door, let in a maid, let out a maid, ne'er departed more.
Enough.
Indeed, without an oath I'll make an end on't. By gist and by Saint Charity, alack and fie for shame! Young men will do't, if they come to't. By cock, they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. He answers, saw I a dawn by yonder sun, and thou hast not come to my bed. Who's there?
Where is this king? O thou vile king, give me my father.
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Tell me, Laertes, why art thou thus incensed? Speak, man.
Where is my father?
Dead.
How came he dead? I will not be juggled with. To hell allegiance! Vows to the blackest devil, I dare damnation! I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
Good Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father, is writ in your revenge, the swoop stake you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser?
None but his enemies.
Will you know them then?
To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms, and like the kind life-rendering pelican, repass them with my blood.
Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it, and shall as level to your judgment peer as day does to your eye.
What noise is that?
When woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Drowned? Where?
There's a willow, grows askant the brook that shows its hoar leaves in the glassy stream. Long it could not be till her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch to muddy death.
Alas, then, she is drowned. Too much water hath thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. Oh, heat, dry up my brains, tears 7 times salt, burn out the sense and virtue of thine eye. By heavens, thy madness shall be paid with weight till our scales turns the beam. Oh, Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. Oh, heavens! Is it possible for a young maid's wit to be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, but where it is fine, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves.
Laertes, I must commune with your grief. Was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
What would you undertake to show yourself indeed your father's son, more than in words?
I would kill his murderer in church.
If it be so, Laertes, will you be ruled by me?
Aye, my lord, so you will not overrule me to a peace.
Let us further think this, weigh what convenience both time and means may fit us to our shape.
Now struck 12, and I am sick at heart. Assault, behold, lo, here he comes again. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which haply foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak! Stay and speak. Stay, Father. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed, a beast no more? Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but one part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do, since I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitement of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot wherein the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth. Here comes the king, Laertes, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites, couch we a while and mark.
Is there no more be done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem and a song to just such rest to her as to peace parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling.
What, the fair Ophelia?
Priest to the sweet, farewell. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought that bread bed to have decked, not have strewed thy glade.
Oh, treble woe, fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wander-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet, the Dane.
The devil take thy soul!
Hamlet! Hamlet!
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not with all their quantity of love make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her?
For love of God, forbear him!
Swoons, show me what thou would do. Would weep, would fight, would fast, would tear thyself, would drink up easel, eat a crocodile. I'll do it. Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave, be buried quick with her, and so will I. Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever.
You mock me, sir.
Oh, he is mad, Laertes. Come, Hamlet, come and take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir. I have done you wrong, but pardon it as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard how I am punished with the sword distraction. What I have done, that might your honor, exception, and nature roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was it Hamlet wrong, Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? It's madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot my arrow over the house and hurt my brother.
It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. Either is not in half an hour's life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. The king is to blame. Exchange forgiveness with me, Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Heaven make thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead. Had I but time, oh, I can tell you. Sir, in my heart, there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. There's a divinity that shapes our ends. Rough hew them how we will. I do prophesy the election light on you. You have my dying voice. The rest is silence.
I wonder what keeps us so high up. was drowned in a deathly sea. I can feel my heart beating as I speed from the sense of time catching up with me. The sky set out like a pathway, but who decides which route we take? As people drift into a dream world, I close my eyes as my hands shake, and will I see a new day? Who's driving this anyway? I picture my own grave, 'cause fear's got a hold on me. Yes, this fear's got a hold on